Hello students! In this video, you will learn about the asexual reproduction in plants. At the end of this video, you should be able to differentiate asexual from sexual reproduction in terms of the number of individuals involved and similarities of offspring to parents. From our previous video, we learned about the types of asexual reproduction in animals and microorganisms. On the other hand, plants can also reproduce asexually, which is called vegetative propagation. Vegetative propagation is the asexual reproduction of plant. This development occurs through the fragmentation and regeneration of specialized vegetative plant parts. Many plants that reproduce asexually are also capable of sexual propagation. Natural vegetative propagation is a type of asexual reproduction in plants where the plants naturally grow and develop without the aid of a human, and it naturally occurs in the environment. On the other hand, artificial vegetative propagation is another type of asexual reproduction in plants that involves human aid. Let's identify what are the different types of natural vegetative propagation. First is the tuber. It is a fleshy underground storage structure composed of enlarged parts of the stem. It has nodes or eyes, which are the points on the stem where the buds, leaves, and branching twigs originate. Each node can give rise to bud, which eventually becomes the new plant. The best example of a plant that reproduces through tuber is potato. Another type of natural vegetative propagation is rhizome. A rhizome is a horizontal underground plant stem capable of producing the shoot and root system of a new plant. The rhizome is used to store starches and proteins and enable new shoots to survive an annual unfavorable season underground. An example of a plant that reproduces through rhizome is ginger. Next is corm. Corms are swollen underground stems with dry scale leaves covering them. Corms store starches to fuel growth and to help plants survive unfavorable conditions. It produces adventitious roots and possesses buds that develop into a new plant shoots. One of the examples of a plant that reproduces through corm is taro. Another type is bulb. It is an underground buds that have fleshy leaves extending from them. Bulbs are food storage units for future developing plants. Bulbs contain several buds near the node, which is where leaves are produced. These new buds can eventually develop into new plants. If you plant one bulb, you may find that years later, you have several plants coming from that one bulb. If you want, you can separate these new bulbs and plant more flowers. The best example of a plant that can reproduce through bulb is onion. Next type of natural vegetative propagation is sucker. Sucker is a shoot arising either from the underground portion of the stem or from an adventitious bud on the root. The best example of a plant that can reproduce through sucker is banana. Another type of natural vegetative propagation in plants is runner or stolon. A runner develops roots from buds located at nodes or their tips. New plants arise at nodes where the shoots develop. The shoot is the production center for a plant that gives rise to stems, leaves, and flowers. The best example of a plant that reproduces through runner is strawberry. Last, but definitely not the least, is plantlets. These are vegetative structure present in some plant leaves. These young plants develop from the meristem tissue found along the margins of a leaf. Meristem tissue is a region of cells capable of division and growth in plants. Plantlets will eventually develop roots upon maturity, and it will drop from leaves to take its roots to the soil and form a new plant. An example of plant that exhibit plantlets is the mother of thousand or kalanchoe. Let's learn the different types of artificial vegetative propagation. The first is cutting. Cutting is done by cutting off a part of a plant, typically the stem or leaf, and planting it. Afterward, adventitious roots will grow from the cuttings and a new plant will form. Adventitious roots are plants' roots that form from any non-root tissue and are produced both during normal development. Next is layering. Layering is a method in which a portion of a stem, in contact with the soil, is bent and covered with the soil. Young stems that can be bent easily without any injury are the preferred plant for this method. The parent plant provides the new plant with water and nutrients while the roots are forming. Jasmine and bougainvillea can be propagated this way. Another type is grafting. Grafting has been long used to produce novel varieties of roses, citrus species, and other plants. In grafting, two plant species are used. Part of the stem of a desirable plant is grafted onto a rooted plant called the stalk. The part that is grafted or attached is called the scion. Both are cut at an oblique angle, placed in a close contact with each other, and are then held together. The vascular system of the two plants grow and fuse, forming a graft. After a period of time, the scion starts to produce shoots, eventually bearing flowers and fruits. That ends our lesson. I hope you learned new things today. For more videos, don't forget to subscribe on my YouTube channel. Thank you and have a day full of blast.